Okay, so now let's take a little detour. We are okay now with factor theorem, remainder theorem. We know how to multiply polynomials. We know how to factorize some of them using the sum and the product property, or just by familiarity that I know x plus a into x plus b, what is the structure and how do I work it out. So we want to get back to factorization for slightly complicated scenarios, and using a technique known as splitting the middle terms. Again, the name is not very important, the process is, and we'll learn it in no time. And then again we'll move forward towards connecting it to the factor theorem. We've already seen one example where once I figure out one single factor, the others can be worked out, right? But we saw even then, even the remaining part was a quadratic equation. So how do I further factorize it when it's not very straightforward? And even now we haven't gone into quadratic equation yet. We haven't seen the we don't know the root formula yet. Some of you, I mean, everybody already knows it because of school, but let's say in our journey we haven't yet hit that. So how do I factorize, and what is the logic behind the splitting of the middle term? What is the idea? So a quick little discussion, and then we'll dive back into the use of factor theorem, etc. Right? So the general form, let's start with multiplying. Always start with the basic step. So say I have a 2x plus 3 and a 3x plus 5, and I multiply them. What is it that I'm going to get? I'm going to get a 6x square, right? 2x into 3x. I'm going to get a 2x into 5, which is 10x, and a 3 into 3x, which is 9x. So I'm going to get a total of 19x. I have to learn to start doing the steps in one go as I move along in the journey, right? And then the last step is going to be the product of the constants, which is 15. So now imagine that so now instead of this will be given to you and you are supposed to factorize it. Even for this we have seen a simple example and we kind of struggled with it because we haven't developed a special technique. And we know how to think of it, but can we make it more streamlined, more convenient for us, right? So before doing that, let me look at this and let me take a few more numbers. Hit pause right now, change this a few times, put a plus minus, change these numbers, but you'll always have something looking like this. The general form, right? Because the form is the same, the numbers might keep changing. You make it 5x minus 2 into 4x minus 3. What will you get? You will get a 5 into 4 something x square. You will get a 15 minus 15x and a minus 8x. You will get a minus 23x, which is something with a coefficient of x, and then you will get a constant, and you will get a constant. So numbers are changing, but the form is the same. So there is a general form. If you have done your reading assignments, you know general and specific. This is a specific, and the general form is ax square plus bx plus c. And tada, you're also starting with your quadratic equation. This is nothing but the general form of the quadratic equation. But say, even if I don't know quadratic equation, I just know I multiplied these expressions together, or expressions which look like this, just familiarity, and I know often the shape or the form looks like this. So ax square plus bx plus c, which is the general form. So instead of that 2x plus 3 etc., can I now generalize that also? Px plus r and qx plus s. Right, 2x plus 3, 3x plus so 2x plus 3 and 3x plus 5. Even instead of those numbers, I am going for the general form. So this expression and this expression are equal to each other, let's say in this particular story. So I equate them together and let me calculate them. So what will I get? I will get a pqx square. Don't worry about what we are doing right now. This is just a one-time theoretical demo to understand the future game, and you will see after a couple of examples it will become a very short, sweet shortcut, right? So just multiply the basic process, pqx square, and then I will have a p let me give myself some space. So I will have a pqx square, and then I'll have a psx, then I'll have a RQX plus RQX, and then lastly I'll have a RS. What I want to do is compare these two situations. Let me simplify this further. I have a PQX square, but from these two terms I can take the x common and I'll be left with a PS plus RQ. Right now I'm switching like on the fly with the small letter, capital letter. Right now I'm not paying attention to that. And then lastly I have a RS, right? Again, very important for you to work all of this out. If you're working it out on your own, then all of my changes will not make any difference because you will know what I'm talking about, right? So now I'm comparing step by step these two forms. Let me get rid of the middle equation. These two forms is what I'm comparing. So if I look at x square, I have a here and I have a pq here. So start capturing that. A is equal to pq. I have a b here, but here I have a PS plus RQ, and the C is equal to RS in the story. So just comparing, nothing, I multiplied the terms and I'm just comparing the story. And once again, let me point out that this is a one-time investment. In case this is already feeling long, where are we going? It's a one-time investment. You will never do this calculation again. This is just to understand the game. So I've done the comparison and I'm just going one more step ahead of the story. If I notice the product of A and C, I know A is equal to PQ and C is equal to RS, and I'm multiplying these two. So what will I get? I will get a P dot Q dot R dot S. And notice something, let me just reorganize this. Let me write this the same thing. I'm just reorganizing as a very basic step. Let me rewrite this as P into S into R into Q, right? Just so that I can compare it to this story. So what I notice is that the middle term, if I have the general form and I'm comparing it to this kind of a story, a 2x plus 3, 3x plus 5 kind of a story, the middle term is a sum of two terms and the product of those two terms is equal to AC. So compare it to this story. Again, go step by step. The middle term is a sum of two terms, and those same two terms when multiplied together will give you A and C. So stick to this idea, notice this idea in action, put it in your own head in your own language, or maybe compare it to this equation. I have ax square plus bx plus c. I do a into c, right? A into c in this particular story is going to give me a 90. 15 into 6 is going to give me a 90. What am I looking for? I am looking for the middle term being a sum of two numbers whose product gives you a dot c. A dot c, the product is 90. I am looking at two terms whose product is 90 and the sum is 19. I will make a couple of mistakes, but let me straight away jump into numbers which are useful, because first I want to be clear with the story. So I noticed 10 into 9 is a 90 and a 10 plus 9 is 19. So this story is working out for me. What I want to do now is split this 19x and instead of 19x write it as a 9x and a 10x. Right, before I move further in the story, make sure that you understand why is this game happening. Compare, you just have to do it by yourself once, step by step, like clockwork it will work out, because it's all simple pure logic. Compare these two equations. A becomes PQ, B becomes PS plus RQ, and C was just RS. Then you saw B is equal to PS plus RQ, and this is let's say the one step extra supplied by the teacher, that if you multiply these two, you get a PSRQ. That means you're looking at the B, the middle term, as a sum of two terms. The same two terms when multiplied should give you AC. Then I went to this example and I saw 6 into 15 gives me 90. The product of two terms is 90 and the sum is 19. What are those two terms? After a little bit of trial and error, we got to that 10 and 9. Now let's split the expression and see how this will make our factorization easy. So I have split the middle term, that 19x is now looking like 9x and 10x, and what is the shortcut? 6 into 15 is 90. Look for two numbers whose product is 90 and the sum is 19. Now factorize. if I factorize this, what can I take common out of this? I can definitely take a 3 common out of these two terms, and I can also take a x common, and I'll be left with a 2x inside. 3x into 2x gives you a 6x square. And to get a 9x, I just have to multiply by a 3. So if I do this, I will get this part. What about this? Can I take a 5 common out, and I'll be left with a 2x, and then instead of 15 I can write a 3. Oh wow, 2x plus 3 is common, so 2x plus 3 is what I can take out, and inside I'll be left with a 3x plus 5. So once you split the middle term, you will see that the factorization will become clearer. Most of the time will make your life easier compared to not having any clues at all. So this time, notice the product of A and C and think of what two terms add up to multiply to the product of A and C and add up to B. That's the basic game. So now examples obviously help. You have some idea, go back, repeat the process, make sure that you know why this game is happening. Not that you need to know the game, you can just go for the technique also, right? So this time this is just a demo of technique to show that it's not really that not a long process as it might have looked in the discussion, right? So 6x square plus 17x plus 5, 6 into 5, 30. So I'm thinking of two numbers, some two random numbers where the product is 30 and the sum is 17. So start thinking, 1 into 30, sum is not 17, right? 2 into 15, oh wow, I'm so lucky. 2 into 15 is 30, not this equal sign, the sum is equal to 17. So this works for me. So 2 and 15, so 6x square plus 2x plus 15x plus 5. Can I factorize this? Yeah, I can take a 2x common. I'll be left with a 3x inside. 2x into 3x gives you a 6x square. And I just want a 2x, right? So 2x into 1 will give me a 2x. And then this I can simplify as 5 can be taken out and I'll be left with a 3x plus 1. Now this 3x plus 1 I can take common out and I can leave 2x plus 5, 2x plus 5 inside, and my factorization is done. Right, so the final result is very quick, the shortcut is very easy, and it's just a tip that once you reach a territory where the factors are not simple, how do you factorize it? You split the middle term. What is the clue? The product of A and C is the clue. So, and again, finally, and maybe the last example in this, or wrapping up, let's say the factor and remainder theorem, and the beginning of factorization, because it is never ending, you will keep factorizing problem after problem as such. But connecting it all together in one final example. So, I have to factorize this expression. How would I go about doing it? Say I have no other clues as such. So my starting point would be to find a root, and how will I find that? By trial and error, let's say at least in the beginning. So I put 1, I put 2, I put 3, I put -1, I put -2, and quickly see what are the resultant values and can I get to a 0. I know right now it sounds like a cumbersome process, but more often than not in most of these questions you will find it early in the first. You don't have to go up to 99, 95, maximum maybe up to 5, 6 you will find the first factor as such. So let's try it out. Let's try finding f1 as such. So 1 cube is going to be 1. 1 minus 23 into x square, which is 1 only, it will be 1 minus 23. I will have a plus 142 into 1, which is nothing but a 142 only, and I have a minus 120. Minus 120 minus 23 will give me a minus 143, and a 142 plus 1 will give me a plus 143. Oh wow, it's not oh wow, because the question has been designed to make it easy to get to the answer. Because right now I'm not testing your ability to see whether you can plug in the value and have the patience, right, the stamina to just try out till you find the overall resultant to be 0. So here we have it quickly. F1 is equal to 0. What does that tell me? That x minus 1, remember that whole factorial, the factor remainder theorem. So x minus 1, in this case a is equal to 1. That means x minus 1 is a factor of this expression. That means x minus 1 into something is going to give you this. And let me once again try and work this out. Again, we learn more techniques as we move along to make our lives easy. Sometimes techniques can also make your life more complicated because you're adding more burden on your memory as such. So before going for any technique, let me just think in terms of common sense and effort, right? So I have a x here, I want an x cube, so I will definitely want a x square. X into x square will give me an x cube, right? That is sorted. Now if I do a minus 1 into a minus 1 into an x square, so let me figure this out. X cube I have already figured out, and minus 1 into x square will give me a minus x square. Great. What did I want? I wanted minus 23. That means I want 22x square more. How will I get? I have a x here. If I go for a minus 22x, x into minus 22x will give me minus 22x square, and I already have a minus x square. My total will become minus 23x square. So x square minus 22x. I hope the process is making sense to you, right? And then a minus 1 into a minus 22 will give you a plus 22x overall. But you don't want 22x, you want 142x. So what do you want extra? You want 120x extra. How will you get it? You just multiply it by a 120, right? This x into a 120 will now give you a 120x. But you also, and now you also have a minus 1 into a 120, which will give you your final step anyway. So you will get so this is your factorized form. X minus 1 is out, and this would be the remaining expression, x square minus 22x plus 120, right? And now this becomes about splitting the middle term or just the basic quadratic as such. Think of two numbers where the product is 120 and the sum is 22, and you will see very quickly that 12 and 10 are such numbers. So what you already have a x minus 1, and then you can say I have a x minus 12 into a x minus 10. So 12 into 10 gives you a 120, and a minus 12x and a minus 10x will give you a minus 22x. So great. Now we have not only factorized it to a quadratic, further factorized it, though this one was already easy, we did not need to use the splitting of the term. So maybe in the later journeys expect a combination of all of these, but you already have enough to start playing with any such kind of a problem or a challenge that comes your way. If you are now looking at more comprehensive practice, find school level work like 9th and 10th algebra maybe. If you think you're very weak, start with the 8th level, but you'll be done in a day. Start with the 9th and 10th algebra level standard textbooks and go through all the examples, run through all of them. You already know the idea, practice is going to be important. For some of you, you have already done a lot of practice in your school days, so just a revision might be enough. Okay, yeah, I know this is how it works. Now it's clear again as well. So this is it. I'll stop right now. Recap the journey, stop, pause, rewind, and make sure that you understand that even though we might have spent a long time doing this, it is just one idea from this angle, what is the factor, what is the remainder. When the remainder is 0, that means the divisor is a factor, right? Or just basically input and output. You put in a value, you get an output value. How do you find the remainder? Same thing. You put in a value, the output value, whatever you get is the remainder. The only connection between this x minus a and comparing it to the standard forms, and whatever, if you're a beginner, whatever extra little details of operation that you have learned through the journey, they will help as well. So this is it for now. I'll stop right now, and in our next video we'll continue. We continue from here, factorize more, and then move towards linear equations, quadratic equations, modulus functions, and so on and so forth. But your core muscle tools are already in place.